Eddie, thanks so much for giving us some of your valuable time. Many congratulations, a Grand Slam secured at the first time of asking. Has this England squad exceeded your expectations?
Look, I thought we'd win the Six Nations. I thought we were good enough to win the Six Nations. You know, to win the Grand Slam's probably a bonus, and the great thing for this team is there's still plenty of growth left in it. And, you know, you look at the team, the average age of 24. We've got a number of players who still haven't played 30 tests, so yeah, the team's only going to get better.
Let's talk about Dylan, because you raised a lot of eyebrows when you made him captain. A decision clearly vindicated now.
Well, I think he's been a good captain. You know, he's led the boys from the front. He's raised his own level of his game. He's got a good rapport with the players. He knows how to handle the players, knows how to get the best out of certain individuals. And, you know, he's a tough boy.
You gave him the captaincy. That meant the captaincy moved away from Chris Robshaw. And there's a man who had a lot to prove. You must have been very, very impressed with how he's responded.
Yeah, look, I thought he had a really good, solid Six Nations, worked hard. His defence was outstanding, carried the ball well, linked at certain stages, and was absolutely invaluable support for Dylan off the field. You know, the wealth of experience he accumulated as being captain for 4 seasons has really helped Dylan. Yeah, he's a really good guy. He works hard with the younger players. You know, always one of the last off the field doing skills extra, and he's just been a really invaluable player of the squad.
You talk about that experience in the squad. Before the Six Nations started, you said that England had no world-class players. Are there a few that maybe have crept into that bracket now?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of players moving that direction. I think, you know, we saw the evolution of Billy Vunipola into a more complete play. You know, his work off the back of the scrum. You look at his work off the back of the scrum yesterday as compared to the Scotland game was absolutely outstanding, and the try that he set up for Anthony Watson in that second half was a classic piece of number 8 work, and he's only going to get better as a player. Yeah, and he's a big boy. He's got footwork. He's got passing ability, and you know I think he's enjoying playing the sort of style we play, and I think he's just going to keep getting better as a player.
And he clearly enjoys being coached by you. Mention of your name and his face lights up. I think he likes your style of management.
Yeah, probably because, yeah, I don't coach him too much, to be honest, mate. He's one of those guys. I think he's like he's playing backyard rugby when he's playing Test rugby. You just want him to enjoy it, use his instincts, and get on with it. I think he enjoys being one of the boys off the field too. You know, we've probably loosened things up a little bit off the field to allow them to be young men. I think they've enjoyed that, taken on that responsibility, and enjoy each other's company.
You talk about letting them be young men. Some of them are very young men. Some of the young guns have really stepped up to the mark. Does that, when we look ahead to Australia, that gives you a few selection problems, because there are a lot of players pushing for places now?
Yeah, they're not actually problems. They're fantastic options for us, and we're always building towards the World Cup in 2019, and to have a successful team at that World Cup in each position, we need 3 very good class Test players, and I think in some positions we're already building up to that. And with some of the guys coming back from injuries, we're going to have some nice options to improve the team and again give us more tactical flexibility.
Are there some areas where maybe you feel you're a little bit light?
Look, I think in most areas we're pretty good. The development of some of the younger players, how quickly they come through will dictate what the depth is like in those positions. You know, a tight head prop, Paul Hill at the age of 21 made his debut in the Six Nations, and he's got a wonderful future ahead of him if he keeps working hard.
England are up to number 4 in the world rankings. Does that sound about right to you?
Yeah, but we need to be higher. 4's not good enough. We want to be the number 1 team in the world, and until we get there, it won't sound right.
Rugby's something you know inside out, and yet you sat there with a red rose on your chest. Twickenham has been cheering you on. You're preparing a team to head down to Australia. At times, has it seemed a little bit surreal?
Oh, it's fascinating, the opportunities that get thrown up in sport. And the right timing's come along for me to be England coach, and I've got to enjoy the experience, appreciate the opportunity, and I most of all feel very honoured to be the England coach and have the opportunity to coach such a fine bunch of players. And the support for the England team has been absolutely fantastic.
You talk about the players very, very quickly. I also want to talk about the coaching team that you assembled. You clearly knew Steve Borthwick very well from your days with Japan. Paul Gustard comes in as well, other people in the fringes around there. What do you say about your coaching team?
Oh, they've done a super job. You know, Guzzy's put in a defence system we're still learning, but at times during the Six Nations, you know, we've been absolutely brutal in our defence, and that'll only continue to get better. Steve Borthwick's work with the forwards, more particularly in terms of their line-out, and we saw the fruits of his tuition with our line-out defence against France on the weekend. Ian Peel's, you know, come in from Saracens and spent a day a week with us doing the scrum coaching, and yeah, scrums improved as the tournament's gone on. And then we've had guys like Johnny Wilkinson come and do coaching, and the guys just love his coaching. George Smith's done a bit of the breakdown. You know, all these guys do it out of the goodness of their heart, and the players really enjoy their expertise.
Yeah, when you talk to the players, they're absolutely buzzing about that. They now come back to their clubs. They're into the Premiership grind again. When you look at the domestic game, are you happy with what you see? Is it producing what you need?
Yeah, well, you just got to look. You know, we were just commenting before that we're going to have selection problems, which is a great testament to the ability of the Premiership to produce good players. And, you know, they are producing good players. You know, there are times in the Premiership when I watch it, I might get frustrated by the style of play, but, you know, every team's got to play the style of play that they want to play. But at the end of the day, they're producing talented players, and that's a great thing for the clubs.
Well, they're back to their clubs now. England takes a breather. Are you the sort of man who can sit back and relax and enjoy a bit of downtime? Or does the work crank up a little bit more now for Eddie Jones?
Oh, yeah, the focus of my work changes. Now we're into a planning phase. We're into recruitment selection phase. So, whilst the work changes, it's still there, and it's really important we keep moving forward because we're not satisfied just being Grand Slam champions.
Eddie Jones, thank you so much for your time. Many, many congratulations.
Thanks, Martin. Cheers.